All right, so you guys, if you have a basketball and it's flat and it needs some air in it, and you think, I wonder how much air I can pump into this basketball, then what you're really wondering is, what is the volume of this basketball? How much air would it hold? So our formula to find the volume of a sphere is 4/3. Somebody figured this out. I don't know who figured this out, but they did good. Times pi times radius cubed. Now, cubing the radius is different because when we were finding the area, the volume of cones and cylinders and, is that how we did cones and cylinders? Yes, we were only squaring our radius, but for spheres, you have to cube the radius, okay? So that's why it's great to have a calculator, especially with a fraction button, just to put these things straight into your calculator and move on from there. All right, so the first one, it says our diameter of our sphere is 10. If the diameter is 10, what is the radius? How is the diameter in comparison to the radius? Yeah, the diameter is the whole length of the basketball, so the radius would be half that length. So this is the formula we use, 4/3 times pi times radius cubed. So we're going to plug in that 5 for our radius. And then if we were going to leave it in terms of pi, we would simply cube 5 and multiply that by 4/3, and you would leave that in that answer with a little pi symbol. But here they went ahead and used 3.14 for pi, and our final answer was 523.6. All right, so everybody, just for practice, I want you to put, just for practice, pick up your calculators, use your fraction button, and type this in your calculator. Just for practice. Make sure you know how to plug that right into your calculator. Darius, you have a calculator? Yeah? Okay. Everybody practice using your calculator with fractions and exponents. Ooh, the answer's a little different. So I bet they use the pi button. Does everybody have a pi button on your calculator? All right, so I want you to find both answers. I want you to find one answer by using 3.14 for pi, and then I want you to find an answer using your pi button on your calculator. So this answer they put on the screen here, I keep losing my pen. This answer right here is by using the pi button. Using 3.14 for pi, you should have got 523.333333. All right, so Darius, you did both ways. Everybody try it with both ways and let me know what you're confused on. Caleb, do you have a calculator, buddy? Did you already try it both ways? You did both, Rylan. Everybody know what I mean when I say both ways? You don't? All right, so on this calculator, you have a pi button, right? See that pi button? It's to the right, it's to the left of the sign button, S-I-N. That's usually we'd say sin, but in math it's sign. You see it, Darius? Right here. Yeah. All right, so clear out your screen, Darius. All right, so type in do your 4/3. Do you know how to do a fraction? All right, so type in 4/3, type times, type your pi button, times, and put 5 to the third. Do you know how to type in 5 to the third power? So above, so do you see on the far left, we have an X squared button, and above that.
I see it. I see it now.
Yeah, so we're doing this, the caret button, the one that looks like almost a triangle. All right, and then hit enter, and it'll give you a weird fraction with the pi symbol on it, right? Then right above the word enter, hit the double arrow button. Right above enter, right? Hit the double arrow button. Do you see it? And then you'll get a number that simplifies to this. Okay, so yes, your calculator will give you two different answers if we're supposed to use the pi button on your calculator or if we're supposed to use 3.14. Okay, so make sure you always pay attention to the directions of which one to use. Who has a question right now about anything I've just said? Don't be afraid to ask me. If you have a question, everyone else does too. We're good? Okay, 8th graders won't talk to me. It's okay. It's okay. All right, we're moving on, everybody. So when you are doing your problems, if you need a video to watch for more examples, please come back to my slide deck and watch this video. All right, so here we have a sphere with a diameter of 6. Find the area, excuse me, it doesn't say that. It says find the volume to the nearest tenth, and then look what it says. Use 3.144 pi. So I want everyone to chat me the right answer. All right, we're using 3.14 for pi. We're rounding to the nearest tenths. Good, Colin. Ashlyn. We're not having pi in our answer. We are, there you go. You got it, you got it, you got it. How do you tell what the radius is? Well, if the whole length of the sphere is 6, that's the diameter, right? Rylan, you look very distracted. Are you playing video games? Okay, so if the whole length is 6, the radius is half of 6. What's half of 6? Yep, Jackson said you have it. Yep, that's the radius. It's 3. All right, I haven't heard from all of you. I only heard from 3 of you. Thank you, Hamina. Everyone is sending me your volume. Ashlyn has it. Colton has it. Allie has it. Colin has it. Naomi has it. So some of you are choosing not to do it or you don't remember how to do it. I don't have a calculator, so it's hard. You can always, here, let me stop sharing for a second. All right, you can always go to a website called, hold on, give me a second, give me a second. All right, let me share my screen with you. All right, so there's this awesome website called Desmos. Okay, so everybody go, just pull up Desmos, D-E-S-M-O-S. 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 All right, now come back to my tab, please. Come back to me. All right, so see this button right here, it says graphing calculator. So watch me, hold on, don't go back to it yet, just watch me. All right, so when you have a graphing calculator, that's awesome. You can do all kinds of things with this, guys, but you can also use their scientific calc. And when we start graphing lines, you're going to want to use Desmos. You're definitely going to want to use this. But I'm going to go back to, hold on. Let me do scientific calculator. Scientific calculator. All right, let me just go back to where I started. I'm so sorry. Hold on, please. All right, so right here at the top of the page where it says Math Tools, if you'll click that down button, you're going to go to Scientific Calculator. Do you see that on your page, Scientific Calculator? And then this calculator will do most things ours will do, the ones that I have. All right, so if I'm typing, and you can click on all of these different buttons and see what you can find, okay? So if you go to the main calculator and you want to type in, what was our math problem? I forgot what we were doing. 3 cubed, so we're going to type 3, and then that little A to the B button, do you see that? A to the third, 3 to the third power. And then how do you get out of that? Let's see. I'm just practicing with you guys. Nope, that's not what I wanted. So maybe if I click to the right, yeah. All right, then I'm going to say times. They probably have a pi button on another page, 3.14. And then I'm going to say times. And then we're going to find a fraction button on one of these functions. Where's the fraction button? No. All right. So then we're just going to say times 4 divided by 3. So if you there it goes. It did it for me. Do you see my screen there? And then hit enter. Oh, I messed up. I messed up because I did that extra exponent. So anyway, Desmos gives you a great scientific calculator. You just have to get in there and play with it to get familiar with it. Obviously, I haven't played with it in a while. But it's a great resource, and especially when we start graphing lines, you guys are going to want to choose their graphing calculator as well. Okay, so those of you that don't have a calculator, you do now. When you get to the pi button, it should be right here. It's under functions. So if you want to see the pi symbol, you're going to tap here on functions. Do you see that? And then there's our pi. Okie doke. Any questions? Nope. So Zabdi, does that help you, sweetie? Now you can use that calculator. Okie dokie. All right, so and Ashlyn says Mathway also has a great calculator. I agree with you. Mathway is also a great calculator. Very good. All right, we are going back to our volume of a cone. And did you guys come up with the answer? I have 113.04. Who got that? 113.04. Did you guys get that? Yes, you did. So what did you have to type? You had to type 4/3 times 3.14 times 3 to the third power, and that will give you 113.04, or 113 since it says round to the nearest tenths. Who is confused? Who did not get that and you're not really sure why? Okay. You got to ask me questions if you have them. All right, there's the answer. All right, how about let's do, okay, everybody do this one. Everybody do this one and send me your answer rounded to the nearest tenths. Good, Ashlyn. Make sure you round correctly. Yours isn't rounded quite right, Ashlyn. Try it one more time. Good, Allie. Good, Hamina. Good, Colin. Everyone else, I'm waiting for your answer. No, IS, that is not right. Good, Colton. No, RF, that is not right. Don't forget our formula. We're typing 4/3 times 3.14 times 10.9 cubed. That's our formula. That's what we're doing. Good, Naomi. Is everybody giving it a try? No, RF, that's not right. Do you have a calculator, Rylan? No, Ashlyn, that's not right. Oh, yes, that's it. That's it. That's it. I'm using Desmos. You're doing something incorrectly, I'm afraid. Because it's 10.9 to the third power. All right, so the final answer should be 5,421.9 miles cubed. That is the answer. If you type this straight into your calculator that I've asked you guys to get all year, then you'll get that answer right there. Good, Zapti. Yeah, that was the only thing, Ashlyn, that's the only thing that was wrong. You put 0.8. All right, how we doing? Who's confused? Be honest with me. No one's going to think you're weird if you're like, I don't get it. I'm not getting your answers. So I can help you if you tell me. Anybody? Anybody? All right, you're all volume experts. Great. Here we go. All right, so if our formula for a sphere is this, how do you think that is different than a hemisphere? What is a hemisphere compared to a sphere?
It's half of a sphere.
It's half of a sphere. You're exactly right. So this is a whole sphere. Well, a hemisphere is going to be, instead of 4/3, it's going to be half of 4. It's going to be 2/3 times pi times radius cubed. All right, someone finally said, I did not get this, what you're getting. I don't understand. All right, so I'm wondering if you guys that don't have a fraction button are missing it and you're not really sure what to do with that fraction button. Is that right? So if you don't have a fraction button, what you could do in your calculator is just type 3.14 times the radius cubed. So, this has a diameter. If the diameter is 26, what's the radius? Somebody tell me, what's the radius if the diameter is 26?
13.
13, thank you very much. So do 13 times 13 times 13. And then if you don't have a fraction button, the last thing you'll do is hit times 2 divided by 3. This is the exact same way of typing it in than this. If you don't have a fraction button, you can just hit times 2 divided by 3 and it'll give you the same answer. So everyone send me your answer for this hemisphere.
Do you round it to the nearest tenth?
Yeah, let's round to the nearest tenths, please. You got it. Well, Ashlyn, that last number would be 0.1 because the next number is above a 5, or it is a 5. Good, Colin. Good, Colton. Who else got it?
I just realized something.
Tell me.
There's 2 ways to do this.
Are there?
Yeah.
So could you use the original formula and when you're done, hit divided by 2?
Yeah, that's what yeah.
You got it. Rylan, you got it. Jimena, you got it. Yay, yay, yay. Ashlyn, beautiful. Naomi, good. Hayden, I don't think you're sending me any answers. Isaiah, Allie, Shiloh, send me answers. Jackson, It makes me think y'all are confused or you're laying on your couch and you're not doing anything. One of those two things. I'm not sure which. Good Zabdi. Caden Crumley, send me an answer. Caleb Lumpkin, where's your answer? Brady, where's your answer? Darius, you got it, buddy. You got it. So our final answer for this one should be 4,599.1. Uh-oh. I bet the HF, I bet you didn't put times 2 divided by 3. Did you miss this part with the 2/3? Try it again. Put it in your calculator. If you missed it, type it in and make sure you got this answer so I know you're using your calculator correctly. Let me know if you just can't get it. All right. Claire, how you doing out there? Are you getting them? Shiloh, are you getting them? Yeah? Okay. There you go, Isaiah. You got it. Hayden? Allie, are y'all getting it? Yeah. Yay. Okay. It looks like most of you got it now. We are moving on, everybody. All right. Yep. That's exactly what it is. 2/3 times pi times radius cubed. All right. So here we have one hemisphere and we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 spheres. So I want all of you to find the volume of at least 2 spheres and the hemisphere. And chat it to me. Let's go ahead and number them so it'll be less confusing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Everyone needs to do at least 2 spheres and 1 hemisphere and send me the answer. And look what the directions say, everybody. Use the pi button on your calculator. You're not using 3.14. You're using the pi button on your calculator for your answers.
Do we round to the nearest tenth?
Let's round to the nearest tenths, everyone. Let's round to the nearest tenths. All right, send me 3 answers, everyone. 3 answers. Ready, set, go. All right, I have done all of them. I think I got them right. I hope I did. I'm not sure. So see which ones you did. And this one time it did say we're using the pi button on our calculator instead of 3.414. Y'all understand the different ways to write our answers? Sometimes you're using the pi symbol in your answer. Okay, you gotta make sure you round correctly, okay? Everybody, should we have a quick review on rounding? You missed 3 problems or number 3? Okay, so that's good if you got the rest of them right. All right, who is really confused? So number 1, I got 1,697.4. 0.4 or 0.5? Someone's saying I rounded incorrectly. So we're using our pi button, right? So I did 7.4 to the third power times. Yep.
Miss Richardson,
Yes, sir.
I got it. On number 4, I got 8 in the ones place, not a 9.
On number 4.
Yes.
Okay, let me look at that one. So number 1, I put it back in my calculator using the pi button, and I think that looks like the right answer. All right, so now I'm
Oh
checking.
wait, I did the 3.14 said the pi button.
Yeah,
Sorry.
yep, yep, you got to pay attention to those directions. All right, so if you missed any, if you'll look right here on the next screen, I actually had all the correct answers as well. Okay, so if you missed some, you're going to need to come back to this slide deck, watch that video that's embedded, and double check these again, okay? What time do we finish? 6:30. I meant 6:30, 2:30. Right? Yeah. All right. So the next set of directions says to leave your answers in terms of pi. We're not going to take the time to do that, but you need to make sure you know how to do it. Okay. Which one was that one for number 3? Yeah, it looks like you just had your desk on the wrong spot, Hayden. I'm not sure how that happened. I'm not sure what happened on that, but it looks like you had your desk on the wrong spot. All right, so we're not going to take the time to do this. Remember, if it says leave your answer in terms of pi, you're literally not multiplying by 3.14. You're not multiplying by the pi button, but the pi symbol would have to be in every single one of your answers. Okay, everybody clear on that? Okay, so the other thing I wanted to make sure we went over is like combined figures. So here's a great video. We're going to be rushed. There's only 10 minutes of class left. So you're going to want to come back and watch this video of combined figures. Okay, like I said, we're not going to have time to do it. Here's another one, inscribed figures. This is a great video that you can come back and watch. So you definitely have resources, even though we're not going to be able to finish all of them in our meeting. So look at this first problem here up on the top left. We basically have a cylinder, and inside the cylinder we have a sphere. Well, the sphere is as tall as the cylinder. So the sphere is touching all, the top and the very bottom of the cylinder is touched, and both sides is touched by the sphere. So the question is, if that's a solid ball, how much room is not being filled up with the sphere inside this container? So in other words, we would find the volume of the cylinder, then we'd find the volume of the sphere, and we would subtract those two numbers, and that would be how much of that space is air. Do you understand what I'm saying? All right, so how much room is not, so everybody, let's use 3.14 for pi. So we're going to use all those formulas. So for our cylinder, we're doing, let's see, pi times radius squared times height. And from that, we're subtracting minus the sphere. Oops, I forgot how to spell sphere all of a sudden. Which is 4/3 times pi times the radius cubed. All right, everybody try that real quick, and let's round to the nearest tenths.
I don't see the little radius. I don't see where the radius is.
The radius is 1 meter. The radius is 1 meter, and the height of the cylinder.
I thought that was part of the circle.
It's both, because the diameter of the ball is the same height as the cylinder. Good, Ashlyn. That's right. Beautiful. Ashlyn's got it. Does anyone else have it? We're rounding all numbers to the nearest tenths. All numbers to the nearest tenth. Yeah, Colton got it. All right, so the cylinder, you should have done pi, good Colin, times 1 squared times 2, which is 6.28. So we're rounding that to 6.3. And then for the sphere, you should have done 4/3 times 3.14 times 1 cubed, which rounds to 4.2. And so the area that's not filled up with that ball is 2.1. 2.1. Yep. Okay. All right. Now, like I said, we're not going to have time for all of these. This is obviously a hemisphere. So we already know how to find the hemisphere. Pi times radius cubed. Now, this is what they call a silo. So this is something you can keep grain in or whatever, corn, whatever. So in order to find how much corn this whole silo would hold, this bottom part down here is a cylinder. And on top of it, what is this thing up here? It's a hemisphere. So basically you would have to find the volume of the hemisphere, and you would have to add it to the volume of the cylinder. Does that make sense? All right, the next one looks like an ice cream cone, right? So imagine this is the top of the cone, and then they put a hemisphere of ice cream on the top, and the whole thing has ice cream in it, the whole all the way down to the bottom and all the way up here. So if I asked you how much ice cream is in this cone, what would we do? After we found the area, the volume of the cone and the volume of the hemisphere, what would we do with those two numbers?
Add them.
Yeah, we would add them, because this is all ice cream, and then we would add the hemisphere, and that would be our final answer. Okay, so those practice problems, and then the last 3 practice problems are all ones that you're going to see in this week's problems. All right, so maybe since we're running out of time, I might go ahead and make a video of me figuring out these answers, and then go ahead and send it to you, because you're going to have problems very, very, very similar to these. Okay. And even though they look more difficult, you're really finding the volume of one thing, and you're either adding it or subtracting it from the volume of the other. All right. So you guys let me know if you think you need a little extra help. So if you're not getting any of these right, And I bet if you're not and you tell me, Miss Richardson, I don't really know how to use this calculator correctly, I'm not getting them right. If you will request a Zoom with me one-on-one, I bet you if we spent 5 minutes together, I'd set you on the right, path, hopefully. But you got to tell me. You got to tell me and ask me for extra help. Okay. All right. So you have the slide deck, you have the embedded videos. If you're still confused, there's stuff that you can do to help yourself. So if you just sit there and go, oh, I don't know how to do this, I just can't do it. No, that's the wrong attitude. Either get yourself help by looking at the videos, Googling whatever you need, or sending me a message and say, hey, can we spend a few minutes together and just figure out what's going on? Okie dokie? Okay. All right. I'm reading Ashlyn's message. All right, guys, if you are done for the day, you can hop off. Have a great day, everybody. And thank you for joining me to see if people watch the video.
I have an idea for a little fun math assignment for next week.
Oh, I like that, Ashlyn. I like your advice. I like it. All right, tell me, what is your idea, Colin?
I was thinking about maybe it could be like, it could also help with the help. It's like basically like